Welcome to the Woo Woo Diaries podcast with Lucy, Shaka and Beth. Join us as we navigate life after our Saturn returns, bridging mysticism with the material world.
Here we are today, guys. My name's Shaka.
I'm Lucy.
And this is
Beth.
And we're presenting to you today the Woo Woo Diaries, which is... Yeah, guys, you want to explain what the Woo Woo Diaries is?
Yeah.
Tell them what it is.
I feel like first we should discuss how we even got here today after the morning we've had.
Do you know what? It's true. Today was one of those days which had...
We were tested.
Yeah. You put it right to the top of all tests possible. So we'd scheduled to be in another location with another producer and woke up first thing in the morning and our guy had something come up which meant that we had to completely change the whole plan. And immediately, I'll be honest with you, on another day, shit's hitting the fan. I'm throwing my phone at the wall. I'm going ape shit. I'm cursing this dude. I'm going mad.
There was no point being annoyed.
No, not in the slightest.
Exactly.
Because actually, one of the great things was one, thank God for you two, real talk. Because, yeah, like I said, if I was in this situation alone, I know for a fact I would have lost my shit. But because I knew that I had you guys there and I knew that within ourselves we'd come to a point of finding something different, you know, faith prevailed and we did. And actually it seems like it's worked out for the better, to be honest with you.
Definitely.
Looking at the settings.
Looking at the settings. Good energy here.
Yeah,
so we're in North London right now, Wood Green, for those of you listening in wherever you're listening, in whichever dimension you might be. I like to often say it's a multiverse, but yeah.
Definitely.
So,
I feel like for Lucy and I, we were a little bit fearful of doing a podcast. It's like a big jump out of our comfort zone.
I feel like the week leading up to today, we had to push through the fear a lot.
So we were excited this morning, but then the fact we then had a little hiccup, a bit of chaos. I feel like the old us would have taken that as a reason to sack it off for another week and be like, oh, it's not meant to be. But
leave it be, right?
It was a test from the universe, like, oh, you think you're ready for the next jump?
Acceleration. It was.
I just embraced it and powered through, and here we are. We've made it.
I'm calling it a bit of a quantum leap, to be honest with you.
Yes,
but I've felt the speed. I don't know, the intensity of the lead up to this point when it comes to this particular day, the full moon.
Yeah. Over
the course of actually for weeks, I've been feeling it. Since the start of the month, I've really felt it, and it came to a bit of a precipice on Wednesday. What day is it now? Friday. Yeah. So 2 days before, and they often say that the energy of a full moon permeates three days between the actual point of its actual of the event itself. So but I wanted to ask you, actually, the fears that you were feeling as far as doing the podcast goes, because when I'm looking at you now, you're at home, you're chilling, you lot are primed for this, ready to go.
Do you know what it is? It's the unknown. Like anything you do in life, it's the unknown. So something that's out of your comfort zone, and you have no idea of what the setting looks like, where you're going. It's just all different factors that come into it. So for me, it was the unknown. I didn't know how the day was going to pan out.
I do get that. For me, it's completely different. So for me, it's more the fear of how I'm perceived and how other people view it, and definitely shadow I need to work on. But it's putting myself out there, and because everything we're going to be talking about is quite personal, and it's a side of me I don't always share with everyone. I feel very exposed.
Definitely.
But definitely something I've wanted to do for ages, and excited to be doing it with both of you. So it's good.
It's dope.
Should we talk about how we came to create the Woo Woo Diaries?
Yeah, I was also going to just quickly jump in and say how we actually came to the three of us to do a podcast, how it came about.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was really really weird. Me and Beth were having dinner and we were discussing it, and then I think it was the next week.
No, it was the next day. It was
The
like
ne-
literally the morning after.
That was it. The next morning after, Beth sent me a voice note, and it was like, "This is very odd, but I just need to tell you what's just
No, I
happened."
was freaking out. I wasn't that chilled.
Well, I was probably chilled. And she'd said that like you'd been in contact, and we were like, "Yes, let's do it." Like there wasn't even a question about it.
Yeah, it was definitely felt like a synchronicity.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't even question it. Usually it takes me a while to make my mind up. I have to do the pros and the cons, but there was no question about it.
because we started the Woo Woo Diaries on Instagram because we love all things woo woo and wanted to explore
Share.
that a bit more.
Yeah,
and share.
by the way, you know what? Not everyone will know what woo woo means, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like, to kind of describe what woo woo is, I mean, in a certain sense, it's all things unexplainable in the material world, let's say. In my eyes, no? Is that
Yeah, no,
is
that
a
was
good
really
way?
good.
Yeah, no, really
That was
great
put
way.
really well.
And also to bring into it mental health as well.
I think that links, like, that's
Yeah.
more,
How
we use
it
the woo
links.
woo tools to help with our mental health.
Absolutely. So more than anything, obviously, we live in this world whereby we're driven. The mind is a big driving force for how we go about our day-to-days. So yeah, I mean, this coming together as a whole for us was about trying to explain how we blend the spiritual side of things, the unexplainable, that which we experience but can't quite put our finger on, but we know is there, and how we manage that with our day-to-day lives of, you know, the grind or the hustle or like whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, coming together with you lot is it's beautiful. I'm glad.
Definitely.
I'm glad. So, where do we start, guys? What's the first thing on the agenda?
I think for people listening, we've sort of discussed how we came about to the podcast and Woo Woo Diaries.
Yeah.
But how we even know each other.
True.
I mean, I met Lucy in secondary school.
Beth is definitely the bridge here.
Yeah, the bridge
no
between
doubt.
both of you.
Yeah.
And I met Beth through a good friend of ours.
I was going to ask you, so I don't really remember how I met you. I know it was through clubbing.
So it was through Gina.
Oh, GFAB.
Exactly. Big
Shout out
shout out to you. Who really and truly, she should be here, to be honest with you. Where's she at?
Yeah, we should have her on.
It's a must. So we were actually going to do a little talk show once upon a time.
Were you?
Yeah, called Dilemma.
Okay.
And the idea was that we would just be kind of talking people through relationship dramas and
Yeah.
What, giving advice?
yeah, well, not giving advice, but also opening a space for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Retrospectively, though, when I think about it, as somebody who hasn't had much luck in the love department,
Do you want me to join in on this one?
thinking about
Well,
it, I'm
maybe
like,
let's save that for another episode. That's a whole other episode.
That will take probably a good few hours.
I was like, you know what? Am I really the one to be? But actually, it wasn't just that. It was a whole combination of factors, to be honest. Because I've given a lot of people great advice, and
Should
it's
you
worked.
be giving the advice?
But yeah, I mean, the whole thing was just kind of
Ouch.
putting it out there, right?
Yeah, but should I be giving the advice?
I think it's good, even if you like us discussing things now as well. Like, we're not experts in anything.
Nah,
Don't have qualifications. It's just like your own experience, and sometimes
Yeah.
that can open you up, like a different perspective on something that you might have not thought about before.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely. And actually, more time, the idea of having the conversation is what builds you a pathway to learn from.
yeah,
You know, because obviously you open up topics and subjects that you ain't really necessarily discussing outside of your own personal mind.
yeah.
And that in itself, as we all know, can be a whole mess.
Spiral.
Yeah. So you gotta get these things out, vocalize them.
Yeah. Okay, so we met through GFAB.
Yeah, GFAB,
through
fabuloso.
clubbing,
Exactly.
and then we were friendly and then sort of like weren't for a few years. Not unfriendly, just lost touch.
Lost
And then
touch.
kind of from lockdown, like reconnected again on Instagram.
Absolutely.
And it's gone from there. And then obviously we had dinner with GFAB. And then Lucy and I were starting the Woo Woo Diaries Instagram. And then, yeah, we wanted to do a podcast, but we just weren't sure sort of like the angle and how we were going to do it.
I think
And
we
then
initially
obviously-
said maybe like a few years down the line. It
Yeah.
wasn't even something to do straight away.
Yeah.
But
And then you reached out and I
So
was
can
like,
I
yes.
can I call myself the catalyst?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
go for it.
100%.
you can have that title.
Listen, I might have
I'm
to
the
use
bridge,
that in
you're
a
the
few-
catalyst. What are you? We'll work on yours, Lucy.
Thanks.
Well, if that you're the final form.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah. That's,
Making us whole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're the final form, straight up.
Okay, cool. So, guys, how did we all get into spirituality in the first place? I feel like something we can discuss as well. Not all people that have been through trauma are spiritual, but I feel like all spiritual people have been through trauma to like, obviously there's a wide range of that.
Whoa. Just repeat it 1 sec.
Not all people that go through trauma are spiritual, but all spiritual people have been through trauma.
Deep.
I feel like that's how a lot of people come to that space.
Yeah, man.
It's a way
Yeah.
to cope with it.
Real.
Trauma can be how you perceive it, though.
100%. It's
It
not
doesn't.
just the
you
horrendous
don't-
stuff
yeah,
in life.
You don't have to compare it to anyone else's trauma.
No, it's very personal.
Yeah.
It's an individual, and that's the thing, because oftentimes the ego might try and make you compare trauma. Oftentimes when we say you got a traumatic experience, I find whenever I'm hearing one,
Yeah.
regardless of whether I'm trying to listen to what they're saying or not, my mind just goes to try and find the representative reflection of that. So like, you tell me you've suffered a trauma, I'm starting to look for where I've suffered the trauma. Do you get it?
That's really interesting.
By the way, this is something that people do anyway, just generally. So it's like, it's that
It's like
comparison.
a human, like
Yeah,
a way to
because
relate
it's-
to someone.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this reminds me. It's like when you tell somebody a story and they can't wait to interrupt what you're saying, just like I've done now. Do you get it?
Yeah, but I noticed that with different people, how they, I'm not saying you at all, but how they turn their story around and make it about them.
Yeah, exactly. But I find myself doing that a lot.
No,
No,
same.
no.
I sometimes worry that I am making it, I don't want people to view it that I'm making it about me, but I'm trying to be like, oh, I understand how you feel. Or like, I might not, and I shouldn't. I actually shouldn't, because I don't know a lot of the time. Like, everyone's experience is so individual, but you want to, like you say, try and connect and have that like human
Yeah.
experience with the other person and be like, I'm here for you. I see
get
you.
it.
I hear you.
I mean, the way I look at it is that we might not have the same. You might describe a completely different trauma to me,
Yeah.
but within you describing that, there's a relation.
Yeah.
There's a correlation between experiences that could be completely different, but within that, now once we touch that point, I feel like that's where we can start to find ways to heal from
So
such moments.
do you think you've always been spiritual? Or do you think there was like a turning
It's
point?
funny. My earliest memories that I have of spirituality are that everything is random. Nothing is. There's no God. There's no anything. It just is. So yeah,
That's
was
really interesting.
that's when I was a child. So I just thought that everything was just a random.
Was that from
exper-
family?
Nah, because I grew up in a religious background, a very spiritual. I come from a very, very, very spiritual place, but
Through religion?
through religion, but also outside of religion.
Okay.
But then at the same time, when I look at it realistically, both my mum and my dad, although I didn't spend a lot of time with them growing up, they both had the same school of thought of everything is everything. So they didn't really believe in a specific religion.
Yeah.
They believed that all religions were correct in some form
So
or
like
another.
equal.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
all trying to get to the same place.
Yeah.
Exactly that. So I kind of, I guess, ran with that in a certain sense, because it was actually contradictory to the way we were brought up.
Yeah.
Because obviously mum came from a very Catholic background, and to this day, you know, like strong Catholic family, and then my dad come from a very traditional indigenous spiritual background, which was also somewhat rooted in religion to a certain extent, but it's interesting.
What about you, Lou? For me, it didn't stem from my family at all. For me, it came from mental health struggles. I think from about 25 it's when I started going to therapy, and from that.
How old are you now?
30.
Do you know what? That's the first time someone's answered that and said it. Just
what, how it is?
Yeah. You didn't even
No, because
hesitate.
No,
I feel like you've accepted that.
Completely.
Oh, my girl, give me a little fist bump for that. 30 years young, baby.
It's not. I don't see it as a negative. I see it if I never went to therapy, without getting too deep, like I wouldn't be sitting here now. Like it wouldn't, like this wouldn't be happening. So for me, it was one of the best things I ever did. Obviously without going into things too much, we'd be sitting here for hours. From different types of therapy, that's how I got into spirituality. It was a bit before 25, but definitely in the past 5 years it's where it's been like cemented into me. Rooted. And I've actually it's made me who I am.
Yeah, no, like 100.
Yeah,
I hear that. What about you, B?
Yeah, mine's kind of the same, that it started from mental health struggles. So like even from like the ages of 10 and 11, I like was struggling with mental health and like definitely had depression. When I started probably at like 16, and like from there on and off over the years, seen therapists and that kind of thing, and been on antidepressants, and that we can discuss all of that. I know how we all have different views on that kind of thing.
We've been there.
Later
We're
date.
there.
Yeah, exactly. We're like knee deep in it, yeah. But even just, it's such a cliche, but even at 16 getting introduced to The Secret and just being opened up to that whole world was life-changing. And I know everyone's got their thoughts on The Secret. I think it's such a good introduction to that world. If you're completely brand new, there's so much more to it, and so much work and reflection than just that book. And it's not
completely,
it's very surface level, but I think it's amazing if you're completely new to sort of
it's
spirituality, manifestation. Yeah, it's easy to consume and just opens up your mind. And so from there I was reading a lot of books, and like you say, they kind of, spirituality and mental health, they overlap, because I feel like at first with your mental health it's like you're focusing on maybe building a business or weight loss and that kind of thing, and from the material stuff it then goes into, okay, what is my purpose, what are my values in life, what's authentic to me, and sort of like all the deconditioning, you just go deeper and deeper. So I feel like, same as you, Lucy, it's definitely from mental health, that's what brought the spirituality.
It also, I feel it comes from within. It doesn't come, I think a lot of people, if they hear the word spiritual, their mind goes to religion. And for me, and I know Beth, that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
So being spiritual is actually more about being in line, like aligned with your higher self. That's how I see it.
I mean, yeah, I can completely, I agree with you both, because I think the rise in the use of not the use, but the pandemic of mental health problems, which are our inability to kind of deal with the world in front of us, I think, in a certain aspect. Like I was saying, to kind of revert to the other point, is that only in later life, retrospectively, can I say, oh yeah, actually, this was happening, that was happening.
Yeah.
And it's through doing that work that you can get to that point. And I think it's I know it is a never ending process. I feel like every moment of our waking life is part and parcel of trying to come to peace with whatever that puzzle is in your
Even
mind.
right now,
Yeah.
like this
moment.
is like what we're doing is a learning curve. It's a growth. It's
100%.
yeah.
It's
I
like-
actually sorry to interrupt
No,
you, because
go.
I want to say this one, but you're saying spiritual and religion, because that was something that is like, if you break down the word spiritual, it's like etymologically, so the root of the word is like spirit broken down, you all.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm just like envisioning that in my head.
yeah. So it's like, when you really capture that, you know, that's the essence. That's the essence of what religion is as well. You know, oftentimes, partly due to misinterpretation
Yeah.
on various parts, we can find that religion causes a bit of friction here and there. But in the same instance, so does spirituality.
Yeah.
In fact, to an even more dangerous degree. And I think that's part and parcel of why I'm actually even really wanting to do this, because this is something that I live and you live and a lot of people live, but oftentimes it's kind of polarized in a way that doesn't really represent what it's about.
100%.
And
I
it
think we see
becomes like
that.
trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see that with like Instagram.
It's a trend.
Trendy when
Yeah.
like this is my life.
I think people forget that it's not a trend. It's
No,
actually a really serious issue.
exactly.
Well, with like physical health, you're never just going to the gym once and then you're at
Okay,
your
yeah, at
you've
your-
either gained the
at
weight
your
you want,
peak,
you're like
yeah.
got the muscles, and then you stop.
It doesn't end.
It's every day. It doesn't end.
Once you reach
the
one
same with
goal.
mental health.
It's a new goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something that needs to be nurtured day in, day out, and to like get to a level where you can just maintain it. But for a lot of people, it takes many years to get to the point where you can maintain it.
Maintaining, gaining.
I do think, just to go back to that though, with the religion, of course it has like, you know, a lot of spirituality.
Of
But I think
course.
for a lot of people that, like you say, are maybe not religious or put off by that, and maybe some of the more sort of dogmatic things that are put out there around religion, spirituality is a bit more sort of open and welcoming, and there's like different avenues and different degrees you can go into it.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is
It's
what
never ending.
this is why I'm really down to do this, because we can explore some of these topics over the course of this. So yeah, it's looking decent. What is your intention for the new moon?
So my intention
What's it?
is actually to get clear on my intentions for the new calendar year.
I
I know, a bit of a twist.
That's a cheat one.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not a cheap one because
quality.
I
That's-
need to.
That's, you know what? No, seriously.
No, I
No,
need
it's
to
good.
It's
explain.
on point. Please,
I
go
don't
ahead.
like New Year's resolutions.
Yeah,
I think
go on.
they're
Yeah.
absolute shit. Like, how can you know what you want for the next 12 months? Like, it's
Who
bullshit.
carries on for the whole year?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Like, no one. It's
Nobody.
nobody.
Actually, there are people that do.
Okay,
Let me
well,
not.
it's not us.
I've never met one of them.
Yeah.
Not a single
I don't
person.
know who these people are. But I like monthly goals, weekly goals.
Yeah.
But I think if you write your intention, like your big intentions, what you want to achieve over the year, like that can literally
The
be
vision,
one.
or
a
like the
vision.
essence
Yeah,
of it.
but I'm just saying, I want to make my vision for 2022 very clear to me. So that will literally be one vision of what I want next year to hold.
And then you can almost like
And-
reverse engineer it.
Yeah,
down.
and then what I will do at the
Shaka
beginning
likes
of
that.
January, write down my monthly goals, which will make me work towards the big vision.
Building blocks.
Yeah,
Because
it's not. It's
sometimes
not
when
a
you have a
New Year's
goal,
resolution.
it's
just
so
a vision.
overwhelming, and like loads of people have said it, this isn't my phrase, but you have the whole staircase in front of you, and it's like, that can seem so overwhelming. What's the next step? Just take the next step.
Exactly.
What is it? And it's so much more manageable and less scary and so much easier to achieve goals. It's the little things, the daily habits,
you're not overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
It makes it enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm truly learning from that, because what you're describing is something I definitely need to take on board, because I often get the nature of having to put things down and really trying to operate them bit by bit to reach your goals, rather than kind of, because I do get overwhelmed.
It's what I said to you the other day, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, why make it hard for yourself? What's the point?
Easier said than done.
I know, but that could be a goal for you for January.
Or today.
Today.
Seize the day.
Well, you know what? I've been easy on myself today. That's why I laughed through every possible calamity that could happen.
You had us.
Yeah, again, and once again, I have to give a big shout out to you guys.
Thanks, and to you, our
catalyst.
catalyst.
And to you.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, Shaka, do you have anything for us then?
Yes, I do. You know what? So actually, when I'm looking at it, there's a couple of activities which are tangible things that you can do to embrace the energy of the new moon. One, obviously you guys have put it as a Sagittarian new moon, right?
Yeah.
So in the Western scale, and this is how everyone will recognize it.
Yeah.
So one of which would be to do something spontaneous. So like spontaneous energy is it's all about that. You know, tap into that part of yourself. And to be honest, when you're looking forward into the future, it's December time. So that's going to be the whole Xmas holiday season and all of that.
Yeah.
And
someone invites you out, go out.
People are going to be up to all sorts for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's definitely going to be one of the things.
Be the initiator as well.
100%. One other one, spending time in the great outdoors.
Yeah.
It's another one. You know, Sagittarius is the for those that might not understand the imagery, but that's the half man, half horse, and oftentimes you would find a half man, half horse outdoors. Would you not?
Not.
All I can vision is Harry Potter and the woods. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because this is where these things come from, actually. Real talk. Yeah, no, this is where these things stem
Harry Potter
from.
isn't real, Shaka.
I know it's not real, but it comes from real things. So things that existed in a certain essence. That's where the whole
Greek mythology.
Well, there's a lot of mythology involved in Harry Potter from multiple sources, from Greek to Mesopotamian, Africa, you name it. They got it all. You got it all.
I love where we're going with this.
Yeah. But actually, listen, we're getting off the point of what I was saying. Basically, doing stuff in the great outdoors and actually
leave your house.
Leave your house. And again, holiday season. This is a time where people are actually, they spend a lot more time outdoors. You know,
Do you think?
Well, yeah. Despite the fact that it's cold, right? You got, let's bar a fact of this thing that we're experiencing as far as the thing going on right now.
Yeah.
It's Christmas time. People out there having the mulled wines and you know, carol singing and all them kind of things that they do around this time. You know, these are all little bit, be honest, like how
but winter people do tend to stay in more.
They do.
I love a like outdoor walk when it's cold. Love that. And wrapping up
when you're warm. Like there's nothing nicer than being out in the cold but warm.
Yes.
Get it? Rather than being
hot cocoa, mulled wine.
Rather than being out in the hot. I don't know what to finish there.
For those that can't see, Shaka just looked like he was about to spontaneously combust.
Yeah, but you get the gist of what I was trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Absolutely, bring it in.
It's also about pushing through your fears. This new moon.
Jeez, pushing through one's fears.
So take one thing that you want to.
That sort of comes off the back of a full moon in Taurus.
Yeah, so it does, and I did a bit of research into it.
Go on.
just to see where I was going
Go
in
on.
December. And it is. So I would say, like, take one thing that you're a bit anxious about or whatever and push through it. Do it.
100, which taps again into Sagittarian
It could be something really
energy.
minor. Right? It doesn't matter what it is. Obviously,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's minor to you. I just mean it could be something so trivial, but just do it
Yeah.
no
and
doubt.
see how you feel after.
Cool.
So that is definitively Sagittarian energy of exploration, breaking new boundaries. This is all tapped into. You did that. You got that. That one just came intuitively to you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Love that.
Amazing.
You know that. Another one. This one is a big caution sign.
Yeah.
Look out for accidents, and let that not be a thing of, I'm not trying to preempt any accidents, but oftentimes one of the things related to Sagittarius oftentimes is accidents and mishaps.
Oh,
Within all of that, within how many accidents have you had though that have actually ended up being good ones? So I'm preempting that for you. So watch out for accidents.
Okay. So they hold a bit of maybe a lesson. Or,
Yeah, a lesson, or maybe a new way of pushing through to do something.
Yeah.
Or like, for example, today, this is a fucking accident.
Yeah.
but can I
And a
just
very
say,
good one.
it's not an accident.
Yeah,
Meant-
obviously.
it was the path
Well,
that
this
we were
is
given.
it. This is it. Like when we get into
But
that
I'm
whole
not gonna go into
conversation
that.
of destiny
here for
and all
another
that,
2
that's
hours.
all. That's another thing altogether. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is a prime example of that.
Cool.
And coming in early and strong.
Okay, amazing. So we've got some things to work on for the end of the year, so that's really good. So we hope you all enjoyed listening to this. If you are interested in all things woo woo, so Saturn returns, spirituality, mental health, maybe even crystals, and how we bridge that with the material world, then please do check back in with us for the next episode, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Woo Woo Diaries podcast. Please follow the podcast and share with your friends. You can also find us on Instagram at the Woo Woo Diaries. See you soon.